Stop chasing swing fixes. Here's how to break 90 without changing your swing. Here's the myth. You need a perfect swing to break 90. Here's the truth. You really don't actually need a perfect looking golf swing. You need just a couple of things in your swing that actually makes the ball fly the way that you want it to fly. In today's video, we're going to talk about what are the things that your swing has to achieve in order to hit good golf shots without actually having to change your entire golf swing to actually get there. And then we'll also cover just briefly a couple of other things that you can be working on as well that can help you break 90 faster, in addition to improving your ball flight and improving your contact. So the first thing that I have to tell you about is that the number one thing that is the most important thing to being a good ball striker is that your club has to land in front of the golf ball. Now, to go with my point at the beginning of the video, you do not need a perfect looking golf swing to hit the ground out in front of the ball. Just to be a little bit comical here, I could actually make a swing that looks like this, but as long as the club lands in front of the ball, this will be a good looking golf swing. This swing actually is something that we see with a good player such as Matt Wolff. And if you have not seen Matt Wolff's swing, he definitely has this weird, quirky looking backswing, but he hits the ground in front of the golf ball. It is much easier for you to use your own unique golf swing that you currently have and use that swing to hit the ground in front of the ball versus trying to find some new golf swing that would then help you hit the ground in front of the ball. You can hit the ground in front of the ball, and I've done this with many students before, where they just make a swing with their current unique golf swing and just work on getting the club to land ahead of the golf ball. The two things that this golf ball needs your club to do is one, it has to hit the ground, and then two, it has to hit the ground ahead of the golf ball. For all balls that are being struck off the ground, those are the two requirements to make good solid contact. So instead of chasing that swing fix, all we're going to do is just taking your unique swing and hitting the ground out in front of the golf ball. The other thing that we have to make sure as well, along with trying to make sure we hit the ground in front of the ball, just to show you that one more time from this view, as you can see, my practice swings are hitting the ground out ahead of the golf ball. And then when I step up to the ball, I'm just hitting that same exact spot. And when that club lands out ahead, it hits a very solid golf shot. So two ways to miss the golf shot is either to miss the ground completely, meaning we're not hitting the ground enough, or we hit the ground behind the golf ball. So if I get my golf swing to hit the ground behind the ball, it hits it really fat and doesn't hit it as well. For example, so as you can see, that shot was not a successful shot. It wasn't because my swing was errored, it's because the club just landed in the wrong spot. And then the other one, if I don't hit the ground at all, so if I make a swing and don't hit the ground at all, this is the other missed shot. So that's a top shot or a thin shot where I clearly did not hit the ground. Now the other two ways that you can miss a shot is either hitting the ball too much on the toe of the golf club. So if I hit the ball off the toe, that does not feel very solid, or if I hit the ball too much on the heel. Now identifying heel and toe shots is sometimes a little bit more difficult to identify. So we use a little bit of foot powder spray like Dr. Scholl's, or there's actually a great company called Strike Spray that allows you to spray the club face and be able to see where you're hitting on the face. When it comes to heel and toe shots, unless you're very in tune with what that feels like on whether you're hitting the heel or the toe, you'll sometimes need foot powder spray or strike spray to help you identify whether you're hitting too much on the heel or the toe. So I take my strike spray, spray the face. As you'll see, a lot of white powder on that club face there. So I'm gonna now hit the shot and see where I'm hitting on the club face. So as you can see, I've hit that one a little bit too much on the toe of the golf club. This one here was a little bit more closer to the middle of the face, but as you can see, it was a little bit too much on the heel. And as you can see with this one, it was hit perfectly in the middle. So I firmly believe if you are just working on just what we just talked about there, getting the club to land in front of the golf ball, making sure that you're hitting the ground, and then making sure you're hitting the ball perfectly in the middle, not too much on the toe or the heel, and having that good feedback. The foot powder is fantastic when it comes to identifying heel and toe. And then when it comes to hitting too far behind the ball, it's very clear because you've hit the ground and it doesn't feel very good. So if you've hit the ground and it doesn't feel good, it probably hit behind the golf ball. And then lastly, if you miss the ground completely, which most people can feel, that's what's causing hitting thin or top shots. So we have to hit ground, it has to be out in front, and it has to be perfectly in the middle. And utilizing some of the things that we just talked about there with the foot powder spray and just bringing your awareness of where you're hitting the ground and making sure it's hitting in front will make you a better ball striker and help you break 90 so much faster. Now, my two other suggestions to helping you break 90 without having to change a bunch of things in your golf swing is your course strategy. What types of decisions are you making out on the golf course that are helping you make doubles and triples, where you could be maybe adjusting that strategy to help you at least maybe guarantee your bogey and maybe even be setting yourself up for par. 3 ideas to help you with the course strategy. 1, avoid trouble at all costs. We don't want to be in bunkers, we don't want to be out of bounds, and we can do that a lot through club selection and where we aim. Number 2, do not go for every green in regulation. You do not have to hit every green in regulation to break 90. In reality, you actually only need to hit 1 green in regulation to break 90. And I think most people are actually shooting above 90 multiple times because they are attempting to try to hit greens in regulation. So if you could just miss greens in regulation on purpose and more intelligently in better places where it's easier to get up and downs, that is going to help you break 90 so much faster. And my last course strategy suggestion is that most people are under clubbing most of the time when they come into a green. They're not hitting enough golf club to get to the green when they do eventually hit the shot. So my biggest suggestion when it comes to course strategy and avoiding under clubbing is to aim for the back edge of the green. If you aim for the back edge of the green, you're going to get enough club to get yourself on the green, so you're not coming up short when you eventually do try to approach the actual green. And my last suggestion to help you break 90 without having to change your golf swing is to put more time into your short game. I just so happened to have a student that just played in the Women's Club Championship this past weekend, and she was the number 8 seed out of 8 women that were playing in the tournament. And she went up against the number 1 seed and then also went up against the number 4 seed and beat both of them purely just by being a better putter. She only had 1 3-putt in the 3 rounds of golf that she played, and her opponents had 4 to 5 3-putts per round, and she beat them just purely on being a better putter than they are. A lot of times people neglect short game practice because they spend so much time trying to fix their swing that sometimes the easiest way to lower your score and break those score barriers, like breaking 90, is spending more time on your short game. So putting practice, chipping practice, pitching, bunkers, spending more of your time on these areas can really help you a lot. And one of my mentors, when I was getting into the teaching business, used to say to his students, spend twice the amount of time on short game as you do on full swing, which is where I developed the 1/3 theory, where I think you should spend 1/3 of your time on putting, 1/3 of your time on short game, which is chipping, pitching, and bunkers, and then 1/3 of your time on full swing. If you do that, you would technically be doing twice the amount of time on short game, because putting and chipping, pitching, and bunkers are all considered short game practice, and then full swing would be only taking up 1/3 of your time. So neglect on that short game is something that I think a lot of people trying to break 90 are not spending enough time on, and if they'd redirected their strategy and their practice to focus on that, they would start to see much better results. Do you want me to coach you step by step through this process? Join the Breaking Bogies boot camp for free at breakingbogies.com. I'm going to be doing a 4-week boot camp guiding people online through this step-by-step process. So if that's something that you're interested in, go to breakingbogies.com, sign up with your contact information, and I'll send you information on how to get started with me in my boot camp. We're starting at the end of April in 2025, so please go ahead and put your information into breakingbogies.com and we can get started into that boot camp.